In today's latest industry recap, there's coverage once more on Boeing, who are facing significant backlash, but do have a response to this. Then moving over to Flair Airlines of Canada, who face new fresh concerns, and Austrian Airlines launching new flights towards the United States. Let me begin with, of course, the feature story being Boeing. In a message shared at the end of January, President and CEO Dave Calhoun shared the view that the added scrutiny of the company will help improve them for the long term. Following a door blowout incident on an Alaska 7379, we know that much of the focus shifted away from the aircraft and incident itself to more so the practices undertaken at the Boeing company that result in the continued slips in quality that are occurring. As a direct response to these incidents, the manufacturer addressed concerns by implementing immediate changes to its practices. This included increased oversight of its production processes and also the processes undertaken at suppliers. Additionally, the plane maker opened up its doors to key customers to really increase transparency about the work it undertakes. Alaska Airlines would be one of the more notable airlines that would send a team of its own to inspect the aircraft that were not just produced on a general basis, but also to inspect the aircraft that will eventually be destined for their operations to make sure that they are of the highest standard. Boeing's CEO shared new comments saying that he's engaged in tough conversations with not just customers and regulators, but also lawmakers to improve. Ensuring that transparency and demonstrated actions are launched from day one will truly be essential for Boeing to see trust and confidence regained from stakeholders. Analysts have warned that until action is proved, many of these comments can be viewed as open-ended, especially after what occurred over the last, say, half a decade. On the factory floor, the CEO went on to say that the people working there know better than anyone else what they must do to improve. He highlights the need to seek feedback, encourage team members, and create a better environment. And just from these three things, you'd immediately know that it probably relates back to the culture that is set out at the plane maker. Concerns around Boeing's culture has been a topic for some time. Insiders that I've had the chance to speak to would argue that this originated as far back as the McDonnell Douglas and Boeing merger. However, if we're talking more short to medium term, you could look at Boeing's response to the A320neo's success as something that directly attributed to the increase of pressures in terms of meeting unrealistic production goals. Some analysts weigh in that while all these changes are being made, not much will actually be adjusted if upper management changes can't occur. Now, you can agree or disagree, that is simply an analyst's view on the situation, and there are some close to Boeing that believe no change is required and it will just come with time. In the final part of the interview, or should I say new message by the CEO, Calhoun revealed that while they typically update their financial and operational objectives at around this time of the year, they won't be doing so this time around. As a collective, Boeing believes now is just not the time to do this. Instead, they will focus on continuing to build every airplane to the highest quality, something that hasn't taken place in recent times. Calhoun concluded by saying he has every confidence in Boeing's recovery and confidence also in Boeing generally as a company. While they have a challenge ahead of themselves, he believed the team is more than up to standards to beat these challenges. Over to Flair Airlines, a Canadian airline that is continuing to face fresh problems, but ensures that it will remain flying and its planes will not be seized following media reports. What's happening now? Well, expansion plans at Flair are being put on hold as debt continues to spiral and the airline faces delivery delays for new aircraft. The latter being a problem that is felt industry-wide, especially if you're relying on 737 MAX jets. While growth will be put on hold, the expectation is it'll ramp up once again in 2025, so expect this calendar year to be a little duller, and these are per comments from their chief executive officer. However, reports earlier this week stated that the airline owed the Canadian government $67 million in back taxes. These reports were then strengthened when some members of the press in Canada said the Canadian Revenue Agency was looking to obtain an order to seize and sell the the airline's property if it didn't receive these payments. Interestingly, the airline's CEO says that the 67 million taxes that I speak of are owed directly thanks to import duties on the 20 737 MAX jets that it's taken delivery of and not paid. 2 of these 737 MAX jets are actually flying with partner Bonza in Australia for the summer season down under. They will then return back to Flair. For Flair, ultimately, this wouldn't be the first time that seizing aircraft would come up surrounding the carrier. It feels an all too common occurrence. That being said, the Canadian company was very quick to address the intense media coverage that it received and stated that the government would not seize its planes and the ongoing situation will not impact their day-to-day operations. What's next? Well, their CEO says that they plan to repay the required amount, substantially improving their long-term position within the industry, and in terms of repaying this, they already have a plan laid out. Over the past year, the airline has continued to expand where possible, as they intend to close the gap between itself and major airlines in Canada. This a market that is certainly heating up. Analysts have warned that while seizing of aircraft will not occur now, should something happen in the repayment process that would see the airline fall behind, or maybe there's another exterior problem, this could become once more a possibility. So Flair will need to be diligent about these repayments and ensure they are done on time. The final story of today actually sits with Austrian Airlines, who have announced plans to launch a new long-haul destination with a view of better connecting Vienna to, drumroll, the United States. From July 2024, Austrian says it'll offer non-stop service between Vienna and Boston, with up to 6 weekly flights on a year-round service. The 3-class configuration Boeing 767-300 will embark on the journey to the bustling East Coast city, with the aircraft offering 211 seats. These flights will operate on Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, but you may be asking how on earth they then plan to achieve the 6 weekly flights? Well, every second Tuesday, there will be an additional service going away. Austrian says that the service will depart Vienna at 10:40 in the morning and arriving into Boston at 1:50 p.m. By adding Boston to the network, Austrian Airlines' overall intercontinental footprint will grow to 19 destinations. However, there'll be 125 cities worldwide in total. Being part of the broader Lufthansa group significantly aids the company's connectivity, as Austrian customers can seamlessly connect to other airlines within the group. You can let me know your thoughts down below in the comments on this latest development regarding Austrian Airlines setting to expand towards Boston. And that concludes today's broader aviation recap. Like I always say, if you'd like to speak on any of the topics covered, you can do so down below in the comments, where no doubt there'll be someone there that is very eager to have a conversation with you. Thanks again for your support here on the channel. It's noticeable and greatly appreciated. Take care, be safe, and I'll see you next time.